Thank you very much, Prashant, for the introduction, and Rani for that. My humble salutations at Swami's Divine Lotus Feet. It's a pleasure to be with all the devotees who are so dedicated and loving to Swami. One thing which I can tell you, being up close with Bhagwan, and even till today, I keep asking myself, I don't know what I have done to get that opportunity to be close to him, in his proximity, play with him. And I still don't understand what I've done, what karma I have done in my past life. So one thing which I will tell you is, if you look at all those videos and images of Swami always, when we were up close in the interview room with him, in close proximity, he always yearned to be with his devotees. And I've heard many times the Mother Sai share her anguish that he could not be as close with his children. He would always tell us, "You boys are so fortunate to have me. See my devotees who are coming like bees from all across the world to see me." And that was, we could clearly see how a mother was yearning for the children coming from long distance. And you are all fortunate. Every devotee who didn't even feel Swami or didn't touch Swami, Swami knew everything about you all, in and out. And I'll start off with a couple of experiences. I was a Balvika student myself, so when the kids walked out, I felt a little bit disappointed that they were not able to hear another Balvika student who came up this life, being a student, going up, living through the life of a Balvika student, going to school, college, graduating, and what the pain of mother and father are. They yearn, every mother yearns that the child, becomes better individual and how their life will be. And that's very important for the kids to understand that, you might not know what your parents are putting you now. The fruits would be seen later, and that's an ample example in all the boys and the students that we are over here, that you are on the right path and the right track. Sai is always with you all when difficulties come in. I'm going to share certain experiences, very personal, and what Prashant had mentioned. I'll touch a little bit on that too. Like everybody else, I'm sure husband and wife, you know, one of them is a devotee, the other one is not a devotee. The Indian culture and the Hinduism that we have, we are brought up with, I'm a devotee of Shiva, I'm a devotee of Lord Venkateshwara, different gods that we have. The husband comes and the wife comes, either the wife comes in first to see Swami, or the husband comes and the wife comes later. I've seen multiple scenarios, different types of the equation. And then it becomes a tussle of war. And it seemed a similar situation happened in my family too. Our family deity was Lord Venkateshwara. And my mother came, and women always get married, right? This is where women adjust to the husband's life, and that's where I saw from what I learned from the divine side, right? And they're living their life. My mother always wanted the children to go to the Balvikas, and so there was, whenever we used to go to Balvikas, there was some sort of an argument, a disagreement. Father did not want us to go. Mom would say, she would justify, say, "Hey, kids are going, don't worry, they're learning something good." Finally they were. And as we were growing, but dad would always say, "Okay, it's fine." Finally, the time, this is where I call Swami is like a cowboy. He threw the noose. When you throw the noose around the cow, time has to come, right? You can't expect him to pull. Time came, and I joined the school. And it so happened the 1985, the first Gulf War. My father was in Bahrain. And somehow, slowly, Swami started. Time has come for her, his son, to come to him. The way Swami showed that is my mom came and was staying within Prashanthi Nilayam, and it so happened my father was alone in the Gulf. My father already had a surgery before. He had kidney stones. Went to CMC Vellore, they took the stones out, and he's kept the stones as a memento that how many stones were there in him, right? And now he's all alone, and he had suddenly pain in his area where the kidney was stone. So he went to the doctor and physician. He saw, and the physician said, "There is kidney stones growing again. We have to do surgery." By this time, Swami had slowly came into his life, and there were bhajans going on, and he started understanding Swami was God, but he still was, wavering. Are you really God or not a God, right? And that day, he went after the bhajan. He went and slept. He was all alone in the house in Bahrain. My mom was in India, and I was in Puttaparthi. And suddenly, in the middle of the night, he had a dream. He saw Swami coming into the bedroom. And then he said, "Swami, I am so much in pain, I can't lift myself to touch your feet." Swami went straight up, rose himself, went right up to his chest level. And the minute he went to touch his feet, as you all, those who have gone to Tirupati, know what happens when you go to Lord Venkateshwara's temple there. You see the water flowing all the way from Lord Venkateshwara's feet. Even today, nobody knows where the origin of that is. Comes all the way out to the main entrance door. As Swami lifted his robe up, water was coming exactly from his feet, like Lord Venkateshwara. And Swami said, "Come to Puttaparthi." That is the visiting card he gave. Come to Puttaparthi. And I didn't know that. I was inside with Swami in the interview room door. A couple of days later, Swami called me one on one. I was sitting with Swami. Swami was talking to me. I'll touch a little bit how I came into cancer, the field of cancer. And Swami started talking to me about a lot about cancer and what it is. And that's the driver today where I am in that mission, which he taught me to do. As things were going on, I was sitting and talking to Swami. Suddenly, Swami said, "Go to the bus stand. Your father is coming." Swami is in the interview room with me one on one. Nobody else in the interview room. And I go out to the bus stand, and my father asked, "How did you know?" I said, "Swami already told me." And he said, "Tell him to go have shower, take him, and then I will see him in the evening." This happened in the morning, just before bhajans were happening. And then I go up to the bus stand, and I said, "Swami's already told you to go and have shower and rest, and he'll see us in the evening." And I go in the evening bhajan. Swami comes out of the darshan, and he looks straight at me. And then he goes to Shauri auntie and says, "Call Dhanraj's mom, sister inside." And then my brother and my younger brother, I said, "Be ready, Swami is going to call. As Swami calls me in, you all have to come inside." Swami called all the family inside. He didn't tell anything to my mom. He never told anything about it. And as we went inside, he closed the door and he was talking to the family. And then Swami said, "Bangaram Bagunara." And then he gave vibhuti to my mom, created and gave it to her. Then he said, "Swami, everything is fine." Swami said, "Anni Bagunda?" And he asked my dad, "Anni Bagunda, Swami?" In Telugu, those who don't know Telugu, everything is fine. That is. And then Swami said, "I know what happened. Amma, he didn't tell you this, but his kidney stone is growing inside." He told straight away. And I didn't tell my daughter because I don't want you to get stressed out. This is a divine side telling his daughter what is happening. And then Swami says, "Lift your shirt up." Swami took his finger like this, went straight into my father, right where the kidney stones were, with this finger, and hit it. And he said, "No more stones, gone." And then after a couple of weeks, my dad went back to Bahrain, and the physician said, "Uncle, can you come?" Because he was a doctor too, right? It's a government facility. I want to see what. He took the CT scan, and the scan said, "No stones. Just a finger." This was the finger that went straight through. Today we have laser surgery and everything, right? Medicines are there for kidney stones. But Divine Side did not need that. That is how he showed that I am divine. So, and from then on, my father completely transformed himself 180 degrees. A man who would never believe Sai, and completely changed himself. That is what the capabilities of Sai. I have seen a lot of things with Swami. I can give you another example. You know, in Brindavan, you know, there was a couple. We're all sitting, in line inside the. As those who have visited Tri Brindavan know exactly, it's like a lotus. And as we were sitting there in the front, Swami was standing right in front of me, and there is a pine tree. There's pine trees lined up on the side. Swami walks up. It's a beautiful. I think that's my call. So Swami walks up, and then he just does like this. And out from the plant, Swami's hand is right there. I can clearly see something is flying on top. Goes straight to the devotee at the back who's sitting with. And then Swami says, "You have half, give your wife half, and come back with three next year." And Swami looked at me and he said, "Yen chesedra papam." They are yearning for a baby. And, Divine Mother had to give them a baby. And then here it is. Just a fruit that flew straight out into the within minutes, and next year did. This is divinity. One thing which I can tell you is with Swami, not only has seen miracles, but also where he showed his divinity to not only human beings, but also, you know, animals have seen this. And another example which I can tell you is, I know, Prashant Sai, you wanted me to touch a little bit about that incident, right? We were witness to one part of it. So. The previous part. So I'll come back to that previous part. So as you all know, that during that interview, my Swami said, "Swami, you got to take care of my son." And Swami asked, you know, "Give me your son." So my mom, worldly mother, she said, "Swami, take my son." So a couple of years passed by, and I was very close to Swami, was very close to me. I was right in the circle, and Swami was every day looking after me, and he had took full custody of me, like Divine Mother taking it. And on that particular interview, there was another interview. That interview, what happened was, which I never expected. The worldly mother went and asked the Divine Mother, "I want my kids to get married." I said, "Swami, no, not happening. I'm happy with you." My life was going very smoothly till then. And the minute she asked it, I fought with my mother and I said, "Mom, why did you ask this thing? You have got two children, you got two sons. Why do you need this third son to be in the marriage window?" But I did not understand divinity had another message coming in. I failed. This is where I call, because Swami has got 18 kalas. Other people, other, Sri Krishna has 16 kalas, Rama had 17 kalas. Swami has the 18th kala. He can put that Maya like that. We can forget. And I touched a little bit on it. I said, why he brought me into the cancer field, and I missed that cue. That cue took 30 years for me to really understand the time frame. Swami's time frame is different. I'm going to touch a little bit on that. I lost my own wife in April of 2024 this year. He knew that this tragedy was coming into my life, putting me in the field of cancer, giving me the strength. All that proximity was for he was preparing me for this window where I would lose And he brought me into the world of marriage is because he wanted me to be with my wife, which there was a calming balance that she had, that divinity was taking care, and he brought me. He knew he could have taken my two other brothers and said, divinity could have planned one of them to marry her, but he chose me into this mission to be with her and guide her at that time. And how he trained me all through his personal life, taking care of Swami also was a way of training me into this process. When Swami fell down the first time, and taking care of him one on one with him was also a training ground for me to prepare for my wife, which is coming very soon. And that is what I you didn't understand. That was the reason why, and I was fighting back with Swami that day evening. I said, no, Swami, no marriage. I'm happy with you. I'll stay with you. But I didn't understand divinity had a different plan. Divinity's plan is unique in that aspect. And the reason why I'm telling all these personal things is, Prashant, that's the reason what was going on in that evening session. This happened in the morning session. Swami said, no, no, you have to get married. Your mom's wish, you have to fulfill this. And I was very not happy with that, but then I had to comply. Swami called me again into personal interview room. I was fighting with him. I said, no, Swami, no, as there is a reason, you go ahead, continue. I will be always with you. That was the assurance. That day he promised me that I will be with you. I said, you're giving me that promise, I will step into that. Swami's word was a command for me, nothing else. That is why I ask the youth, sometimes the youth I ask when I go in every Sai center is, you don't have to follow, everything that you do, right? Is so from the spiritual aspect. Whatever you're doing, small things which you're doing, do it wholeheartedly. I can tell you one thing with the young youth is, I was a very playful kid. I never studied. I never studied. I know Sai knows a little bit about what I told in the Phoenix Sai Center. In my first grade, uh, everybody, we are a big joint family, and we had functions, and Diwali was there, and all the cousins came in. My grandmother had 6 sons and 2 sisters. My father's side had 2 sisters, so it's a big family they were. So all the cousins we would meet in my house, and everybody's making sweets and everything for the Diwali. So and the thing is, your tradition is you have to keep your books in front of God and worship. So I took my progress report, put it under the book, and you know happily I hid it. So all the cousins came and said, what did you get? What rank did you get? My brother said, first rank. And then I was hiding behind everybody. I didn't want to tell which rank I got. And finally it came to my turn, and my Periappa was, my father's elder brother was, or Pedanana in Telugu, they say, he was sitting over there. And they said, which rank did you get? They started pestering me. I said, I got 36th rank. They started teasing me. You got 36th rank? I said, what's wrong with 36? 36 is bigger than 1. This is how I kept arguing. 36 is bigger than 1. Why are you all? They started teasing me, and I started crying. Then he took me into his this thing and made me sit on his lap, and he said, come everybody here. So when he calls, everybody has to come. Oh, it was like God. So everybody used to get, all the cousins used to get scared of him. So he said, look, he's the only one who will study. He'll get multiple degrees, and he will disprove you all. And my, prankness never stopped over there. I used to love playing cricket. Cricket was my favorite. And any sports, I would be there. Studies, backseat. Studies did not come to me till Sai, the divine Sai, came into my life. And Swami started talking to me about cancer and everything. And it so happened, even my one day, when my tuition teacher, my parents put a tuition teacher for me, saying he's not studying. So my mother was scared. My son is not studying. What to do? All mothers, like, I'm sure all the mothers were smiling over there on that side, thinking my kid is also going through what's going to happen. Don't worry, Sai, leave it to Sai. Sai will take care of it. I can assure you that. Mother Sai is there. Once you trust him, surrender to him. That is surrender. And immediately, the teacher one day asked, as he was teaching, I said, I need to go to the restroom. I jumped over the wall, went outside, and I was busy playing cricket. The teacher said, where is this kid gone? And then he came out and he saw me playing cricket. He caught hold of my ear and he said, if you continue like this, you will only become a motor mechanic. And that's the biggest insult, my dear brothers. I'm sure you're sitting over there enlightened there. How insulting it is. And then when I finished my PhD in neuroscience, in the brain, I went back to the teacher and I said, sir, with the divine grace, Swami's grace, I didn't become a motor mechanic, I became a mechanic of the brain. Understand where memory is formed in the brain, working on Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. This is how Divine Sai put it into it. Where is the 36th rank holder? Where is Puttaparthi? Studying from Puttaparthi University, Swami sent his kids out into the world. Today, all the credit that I get, it is not because of me, my brothers. My hero is here. I am a zero. Divine Sai is the hero. In 2000, I couldn't believe my ears when Eric Kandel got the Nobel Prize. I was competing with him, with a Nobel Prize winner. I didn't know that he had sequenced the same gene that I had sequenced it, and he sent this thing. And then in 2003, when I published a paper and I shared it with the Society for Neuroscience with the movie showing how brain's synaptic circuitry changes every millisecond, he caught hold of my hand. He took me to his team and he said, how many people were working on your project? I said, Eric, only with me. He said, I had 15 people trying to beat you. And he said, you have beaten all the 15 people. That was the seminal publication that I had done showing where the synaptic circuitry in the brain is changing. A Nobel Prize. And he said, go tell your father, you have beaten 15 people in my team. I can't take that credit. I couldn't go and tell Swami, the divine, you take the credit. And that year, my work went to the United States Senate. The United States Senate saw the work that I had done, showing this. It's all his, the mission. But I didn't understand why he took me from cancer, took me to the brain, brought back me into cancer. It is because there are only two diseases. I'm going to go a little bit scientific because the divine scientist is here. Where science ends, spirituality begins. I learned that through this. Any physicians here? Thank you. So they all know that the Kaplan-Meier square or the survival curve, that is very important. Amma, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Kaplan-Meier square. I'm sure they know all even in clinical trial, they know as physicians, So a Kaplan-Meier square is also called the survival curve in cancer. There are only two diseases in cancer that are very relevant over here. Why he took me this journey, Swami, when he spoke to me about cancer, I said, why did you take me to neuroscience, to the brain, and then brought me back into cancer research again? It's because in cancer there are two diseases. One is breast cancer and the other one is lung cancer. These two are the biggest cancers currently the world has to look at it by 2030. We are estimating that there are 3 million women who will be diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer. 1 million mothers and sisters will die of that. That's the number one disease that we are looking at. And these two cancers, the cancer spreads to the brain. Understanding where it goes into the brain, blocking that is going to be the key thing to personalized medicine. The challenge the mission that he put me back in is very important because he cares for his children. And he told me about every day my one on one with Swami for that 7 years was he was talking to me about cancer. And that is where I look at the Kaplan Meier square, because in that square we have something called complete response, partial response, and stable disease. SD, CR, and PR. The graph which we share with the FDA when a drug is showing efficacy in a patient and has got good safety profile. And that is where science ends and spirituality begins. Is your karmic balance desire is the deciding factor whether you get a complete response to that disease. CR, if Sai wants you there. Partial response, it depends upon how much of karmic balance you have, right? Or if you and stable disease, if Sai feels or the divine feels and the dharma feels that this person needs to continue. That is how I looked at where science ends, spirituality begins. Your balance in life is the deciding factor. And that's what Swami taught me. You do till what you do and leave it to me, and I will take over from there. I can tell you from my personal experience, which I touched a little bit about my wife, I can tell you that later. How he shed that light to me. And pause over here, I'll take you back. And these are some of the times which I spent with Swami in Kodaikanal back in 88, 89. And the way I interacted with Swami is one-on-one. Every day morning, my life would be getting up at 4:35 in the morning and will go into the evening days, being inside Thai Vrindavan, whether it is Puttaparthi or it could be in Uti or Kodaikanal with Swami. And my day would start from 4:30 in the morning all the way to 9 till we clean up and everything. And then finally I would go and sleep outside Swami's bedroom door. Lie flat. And that's what my routine used to be. And in the morning before Swami came out of the door, I would be standing outside the bedroom door. Swami would open the door, comb my hair. And Swami would ask, "Is this robe okay?" I'll say, "Go change and come." That is son to a mother. And Swami would go and change the dress and robe and come back and say, "Is this okay?" "Yeah, okay. Now you can go for darshan." And I also would like to share certain things. I'm sure, I don't know how many of the elderly devotees over here who read Sanatan Sarthi. In the 90s, Dr. Patel wrote an article about a student who had chicken pox. I think Prashant is smiling there a little bit. He knows about it from Raghunath Sharma. And he was the one who took Swami to Uganda, first person to take Swami outside. And Swami told a lot of things about Idi Amin. When Idi Amin came with his 12 wives to see Swami when Swami was in Uganda, he said he had a big head. And Swami's feet is like a women's feet, very tiny and gentle and very soft. I can tell you that. And when Idi Amin put his head on Swami's feet, Swami said, I could feel that heaviness in his feet. And he gave a detailed description of his visit, Idi Amin's visit to Swami. And Swami said, I had to go to Uganda to save the devotees because I knew this calamity was coming. And under the divine law, I had to protect my children. And I gave hint to Patel saying that tell people to leave Uganda as soon as possible. And that's how Swami, made sure, the catastrophe would have been much, much more bigger if Swami had not gone to Uganda for that incident. And there he wrote, it so happened after I came back from Kodaikanal with Swami. And this is where I'm sitting there with Swami there in the. It so happened that Swami basically next year he said, I'm not taking you to Kodaikanal this year. I want you to stay in the hostel, and I'm going to start the summer program again. I want you to, make sure the auditorium, Vrindavan auditorium, is ready for the summer program, which I'm going to come and start. So I happily, you know, said, "It's your command, Swami. This year I will not come with you." So I stayed back, and I was doing. Swami said, "Make sure everything, all the seats are, scraped off, painted, clean, auditorium whitewashed, everything done." So Swami came back. I was in the hostel. I was eating lunch, and then boys, two couple of other boys, Swami's car is coming. I run without washing my hand. And I go and like every other student, right? All of you like enthusiastic. Prashant Sai knows how we were. I go open Swami's door and Swami gets down. He doesn't look at me. Hmm? Oops. What did I do? Introspection started. And I was feeling guilty. I was, for next week, the summer program is going to start. And so I know Swami is going to be busy. He had a lot of enthusiasm of restarting the summer program. And days were going. And it so happened, finally, like everybody of you, a normal human, devotion is normal. You can show any way you want to, right? Morning darshan, it so happened, Swami came. He didn't look at me, not a single, like that. He's walking. I said, "What are you doing?" I go up to the room. I look at his picture. He knows exactly. He's smiling happily. I blasted him. I said, "Swami, you said your mother, your father, everything you'll take care. If I had been in the summer, this summer, had gone home, my mom would have made dosa, idli, vada, medu vada, sambar, some, upma, everything, and all the sweets you would have made. You said your mother, you didn't do it." I blasted him and I got upset and I slept and I cried and I slept. This is afternoon, 12 o'clock. You won't believe it, brothers. I can tell you that whatever we say, whatever we do, Mother Sai listens. It's an instantaneous. Some things are very instantaneous. At around 1:32, I hear somebody, I'm sleeping. This elderly gentleman, Rama Brahmam, he comes, goes to Narsimurti, who is the warden at the time. He said, "Where is Dhanraj?" Swami wrote my name in a piece of slip and sent it to him. He's 98 years old. He said, "Sir, you don't have to go to the second floor. I will go." So Mr. Rama Brahmam comes. "Babu, get up. This 90 years, like my grandfather." And he's coming and waking me up. "Swami is calling." I said, "Sir, you go, sir. I'll come." I coolly go wash my face. And I put my shirt on and I go exactly, from the backside. I went in. And Swami is, Prashant Sai knows Trai Vrindavan. He asked me, "Anna, keep telling about that." That's the beautiful part of Vrindavan is that, Swami is very professional in Prashantalam, very diplomatic. He's a kid in Vrindavan and he's a child in Uti and Kodaikanal. It's a different aspect of Swami. Swami is standing near the steps like this. And he says, as he looked at me, when I said, "How long do you want me to wait?" I said, "I didn't know you're calling me." I straight away gave a reverse answer back to Swami. He said, "I've been waiting 20 minutes for you." I said, "If I'd known, then I would have been ready." He said, "Come up." I went up to him, take Pada Namaskaram. I took Pada Namaskaram. And then he said, "Somebody blasted me this morning at 12 o'clock saying I didn't prepare idli, dosa, and everything." And he said, "Come, I bought food for you." So this is happening at immediately after the morning darshan. And Swami said, "Come with me." I took me to the dining table. And he said, "You said I didn't prepare dosa, idli, vada, and everything. See, I made specially, got everything." He sent the car to Bangalore city, got special vada from Taj, everything for me. And he made dosa in the kitchen, everything. And then Swami said, Swami himself personally put the plate and he served. And I said, "Are you not eating?" I said, "No, I'm not eating." I said, "If you don't eat, I'm getting up and I'm going out. You got to eat with me." So I forced Swami. Swami got a plate for himself, sat with me, and we both were sitting. Swami served everything. Till today, first thing, one condition which I told my wife: "You will not touch my plate or lift my plate. Only Swami will do it, my divine mother." My wife, till the last day, she never touched me. My kids also don't take my plate out because I think Sai is the one who is to take my plate. That's my divine mother. That's my relationship with him. And Swami served the food, and like all beautiful Balvikas teachers who are there, unfortunately the kids are not there, right? You know, I did my Brahmarpanam and I closed my eyes and I looked around. Swami is not there. Where is it? Where is Swami gone? And Swami hit me on my head and he said, "Why are you telling Brahmarpanam?" I said, "Teacher told me to tell Brahmarpanam." Balvika's teacher, he said, "No, I am the Brahma who's eating inside you. Why are you telling Brahma?" I said, "I won't tell any more Brahmarpanam." So I don't say Brahmarpanam anymore, my brothers, because he's the one who's eating inside. And that is why I don't allow my wife to take the plate, because the Brahma is eating. All right. And it so happened, Indian food. I can see my younger brother over here laughing and smiling. How is this brother played with Swami? You eat dosa and vada with the hand, right? All the elders are. So what happens to your hand now? My mind is thinking, what do I do? Where do I wash my hand? Right? So Swami looked at me. Immediately he read my mind. He said, use the sink. So nicely I go open the sink, wash my hand. And then as I'm washing the hand, I looked at that beautiful towel over there. You know, Immediately he read my mind again. He said, "Use the towel." Thank you very much, Swami. I wiped this, used this towel and everything. And the Swami said, "No more blasting me every day. You come every day at 2 o'clock. I'll make whatever you want. You tell me the menu. I'll prepare and give you." So that my life became like that. So devotion and dedication is not, you have to follow this procedure, that procedure. Being as normal, as natural as possible is very important. And why if you look at some of the pictures of Swami playing basketball with the basketball, is I used to play basketball. The way I showed my devotion to Swami is through my basketball, my games, my sports, right? Swami would come and look at my basketball game, and whenever I would put a three-pointer, this is Swami signing the basketball before I started the game, I would practice every day. That's why I ask boys, if you're playing a musical instrument, you're doing cooking, fathers, if you're doing gardening, you don't have to. Devotion is not going and doing something out of the way. Whatever you're doing in the home, think, I am doing it for Swami. Mothers, sisters, if you're cooking something too, right? Think that you're cooking for Swami. I am doing, that is arpanam, that is devotion. Devotion doesn't have to be you come and sing. People, I'm not saying that, you may do Vedas, you may do bhajans, definitely is there. But surrender that whatever you do. So the way I found is playing basketball. Whenever I would shoot a three-pointer, Swami would get up from the seat and, yes, Swami would cheer. The joy, the happiness that I would see when the basket would go in Swami's face was more for me. And his command meant everything for me, that dedication. So, what was the time? About 20 minutes. Okay. So, that is very important in whatever we do. Devotion is that. And the other thing which I would say is, as I talked about, Patel, I'm coming back. He wrote an article in Sanatan Sarthi of how Swami cured a student with chickenpox. How many of you have read that story in Sanatan Sarthi? Has anyone read that? So that chickenpox kid is standing right in front over here. I am the one who got that chickenpox. My whole body was full of chickenpox. And Swami, I couldn't go and see, they isolated me in the hostel, and I couldn't go and see Swami for darshan. And the news warden, I sent a message through the warden to Swami saying that I got it. And Swami said, I will send doctors to him. And Dr. Patel was one, and the other one was Dr. Padmanabhan, who was there. Two people said, Swami said, go and take care of my child. And they would come, Dr. Patel would come in the morning, Dr. Padmanabhan would come in the evening. They would see all the medicines that I've taken care. And I came to know that Swami was leaving Vrindavan and is going back to Puttaparthi soon, and I wanted to see Swami. So I told Warden sir, can I come behind and watch Swami between the Kalyan Mandapam? And then before the boys came back, I would come back to the room. All right. He said, that's okay, Babu. And as there, and finally I sent a word to Swami. I said, I need to see Swami. Swami said, tell him to come in directly into the interview room after the boys have gone to the college. So after the boys went, devotees thought Swami had gone inside. And it so happened that I went quietly into the interview room. Swami was waiting for me there. And he said, come sit down. And Swami started talking to me, and we both started chatting how things are going. And then Swami said, remove your shirt. Swami touched each and every boil of the chicken pox with his own hands, created vibhuti, put it on top of it. Now put on your shirt, he said. And then he did like this. He said, I know in your mind you want to know how Swami creates a sugar candy, right? Look at it. He said, in physics, you people know how to break things up. You burn wood and make it into ash. Look what I do. See, I do the reverse science. This is divine scientist teaching me. So look at it. Swami's hand was like this. He did this, and suddenly a crystal of water appeared right in the middle of his hand. And that crystal started growing. It became big, big, big. And then it crystallized into sugar candy, and he dropped it into my hand. And he said, as I was holding it, he said, why are you holding it? Take it. And he took it from my hand and put it in my mouth. And now try to eat it. See, you can't eat it like that, right? Full. You have to break it down. See, that is what human beings are. But divinity knows how to pull those atoms and molecules together and bring it into one entity. That is the physics that I use and the chemistry that I use. So that is what he taught me about it. And he said, Swami said, have this, not a single scar will be on your face. And I'm standing here at this age. There's not a single scar on my face. The whole face was filled with boils. Nothing on my hand, nothing anywhere. That is Sai. And yeah, I'll tell you another experience is, a lot of devotees, why I'm saying about, devotion, right? Have you all somebody seen your parents and mother and father when they're doing puja? How many of you seen what happens? Amma, husband is doing puja in the, sometimes, wife is doing the puja or something like that. Wife will say, hey, Mandi, pressure cooker better. Correct? Or the husband will say, yeah, I kept can you look at it in the kitchen? I have kept tea over there. The milk is boiling. Sometimes they'll say these things. Correct? Am I right or wrong? Right? You're doing puja over here, right, in front of Swami, but then your mind is somewhere else. How I knew this is, one day I was sitting with Swami in Vrindavan. My parents are in Bahrain. I was massaging Swami's feet. And we only one-on-one. Only Swami and me, and I was sitting at his feet and was, massaging his body. And as I was doing, suddenly Swami said, you want to see what your father is doing? I said, okay. As I was massaging it was closed, he said, close your eyes. He transported me directly to Bahrain in the Gulf. And my father was in the puja room. He was exactly what he was doing. He was getting Swami's altar ready over there. He's yelling in Tamil, he's telling, kitchen pongal vechirukren, pongudu pressure cooker. I could see every detail what my father was telling my mother. And then, you won't believe it, I'm in Thrive Vrindavan with Swami under his lotus feet. Swami says, okay, finally something happened to my father, and he said, I have to call my son. Swami says, your father is going to call. Go straight to the hostel, wait near the phone, he's going to call you. And I go there, and within 5 minutes, my father calls me from Bahrain. And I said, Dad, what were you doing? Why were you telling about the pressure cooker? Swami told me over here in Vrindavan. And I saw exactly what happened in Bahrain in the puja room. So that is divine Sai. He knows every detail, everything. What my parents were talking. And my father said, "Oh, tell Swami I'm very sorry." I said, Swami said, "Focus on puja. Don't do anything else." And I go back into the interview room and then I tell Swami I spoke to dad. What message he wanted to give. And Prashant Sai also asked me, "Anna, why don't you sing bhajans?" So one day, as I told you, going with Swami in Kodaikanal, Swami said, "Come and sit next to me." And so I'm sitting next to Swami in the car, and they're driving in. We just left Bangalore city, and I don't know in Mandya. Swami said, "Sing bhajan." I started singing. Swami said, "Stop. Here is the divine sitting next to you, and I'm holding Swami. I'm cuddling Swami completely." And Swami said, "Stop." I said, "Okay, I won't sing any more bhajans." That day I stopped singing bhajans. There's a reason for it. So, and the other aspect of it was, how playful he was. We go to Ooty, we stay there, and one day we stayed, and the boys, Swami got down early in the morning, went to the classrooms. He sat at the first grade class at the back, and he was watching what the teacher was teaching the kids. Suddenly he walked in, and teacher is nervous, and the boy Swami started asking the questioning the teacher over there. And then it was such a beautiful interaction between the Divine Mother and the babies. You can see how that interaction was. The little Uti boys, right? They were cuddling Swami, playing. "Swami, when will you come and teach us? You want to play with us? When are you going to play?" Swami said, "Yes, I'll come back again. I'll go to Kodaikanal. All these big boys, I will spend some time and then I'll come back to you." And that was, we came back with Swami, and that, I learned what is humility from Radhakrishna sir. It was on the late Radhakrishna sir, it was on the right side. And it so happened that was a real interaction of the Swami, right, which we saw. And the next day we left, all the boys. As Swami said, "You sit in the front seat." You'll see another picture of me sitting with Swami in the front seat of the bus. And as Swami gave me a banana. And as you know, we are coming down the hill, the hairpin bend, and the banana started, I started getting nausea. Swami said, "You get down, you come in the car." So Radhakrishna said, "Stop the car," and I got in the car. This is how the prank he plays, my brothers. One thing is, you don't want to be in that prank where. So we started to reach Coimbatore. How devotees are, how dedicated they are. They knew Swami is coming. Okay. And all the devotees, when they look at that Mercedes Benz, ADA 9, ADA 999, right? And 99, right? All the devotees are lined up. Whole of this is Coimbatore city. They know Swami is coming. Devotees know Swami. And foreign devotees back with the cars following Swami. And what happened is, they didn't know that Swami is in the bus. I am in the car. Ooh. All the devotees thinking in the car, and they're falling, they're praying over, they're falling on the roadside. Then I get down from the car in Coimbatore. Swami comes to me and said, "Did you enjoy being divine?" I said, "Swami, I don't want to be in that seat." That is, the sin is more, because they're like, fathers, grandfathers falling into the car. And he comes and asks me, "Is he enjoyed being divine for some time?" I said, "No, no. That is a position you don't want to be sitting in." That is the prank that he played with me in that trip. And, the other aspect of it is, during that visits, right, Swami created a number of jewelry. He spoke about Ramayana. And one of the pictures which you'll see over there, this picture. So this topic came up, and I asked Swami on that day. He said, "What topic do you?" I said, "Swami, I heard that you bought, Kohinoor diamond out from, UK, which is there in a secure vault, and you showed it. Is there anything else that is more precious than that?" He said, "Yeah, there is a very precious diamond up there. So I have it with me. It's in Ramayana, which is there, which is much more valuable than this." Then he created this ring. He said, "That is the ring that Lord Rama was wearing." The diamond was so big. And The ring size was quite big. Swami created it and he sent it around to all the boys to look at it. And as usual, it came to me, and I had a small camera my parents had given. And I enthusiastically wanted to capture that picture, and I took the picture of it in my hand. This was in, and then clicked the camera. And then Ravi Shankar sir, who was also a faculty, and now he's in New Jersey. His father was the United Nations head at that time, and he had also his camera. So I passed the picture, and then both of us took the picture at the same time. Swami both looked at both of us and he said, "That picture is not coming. You won't believe it, brothers. I developed that picture, the film roll. Everything else came. That picture did not come. Those pictures that he didn't want us to show." When I saw this couple of months ago, and it recalled me, and this is the ring that he had given to Hanuman to give it to Sita, that was his message that I'm coming for you. And Swami, when he passed that ring, he said, "Whomever this ring fits, I will give the ring to them." Everybody was busy trying to fit their finger into that ring. And I put both my fingers, it was bigger than that. Then Swami started explaining about Ramayana and their height and their body structure, the physique and everything. And he said they were pretty close to 16 feet, 14 to 16 feet in the Treta Yuga. In the Dwapar Yuga, they were 12 to 13 feet. They were high. And if you look at some of the movies that you have seen, that Ajanubahu means that their height is big. And Shabari was also a very tall lady, apparently. And so and Swami talked about Shabari and the devotion. And why I put this picture of Shirdi Sai is this is, a beautiful story. This door, the wood is 500 years old. And Swami specifically, when he built Tribrindan, sent an notation to Kerala, and he said, go to this particular wood craftsman, and he has got this wood, he's waiting, and he specifically designed this thing and made it. One day it so happened that, a lot of people, I'm telling you, is, senior devotees don't understand that, devotion can be in any way, any form. We boys, after Swami finished the bhajan, we would literally run. Swami knew exactly. I'm sure Prashant Sai knows about those stories which his cousin Raghunath Sharma told. We would literally run inside. It's basically, you see the Tribrindan gate, we'll run like a sprint. And I would be leading that sprint in the front. And then as you go closer, there's marble. In the footsteps of this Tribrindan has got marble. And on either sides of it, there are plants and trees. And so as we are going, we are just, one kick. That's it. The plant will go, the pot will fly like left and it'll smash and it'll break. And as you have to go, and since in the evening it is hot in Vrindavan, the Sevadas would pour water and make it cold. So Swami's feet doesn't get burnt. And then we have to turn very gently. If not, you'll slip and you'll go flying into the lawn. And so you have to slow your speed down. So it so happened one day, Swami, that he opened the door. He looked at me and he said, "Come like this." All the boys got up. I ran. That's it. There is no stopping. There's no brakes. Only accelerator is there. Ran straight. Swami didn't move out of the position. He was right near this door. And before I could know, I went and hit Swami straight. Swami's head went and touched that wood. I said, "Sorry, Swami." I started crying. And Swami said, No, don't cry. I wanted you to come and hit me. And I just cuddled Swami, completely covered up. And I knew the boys were coming behind. And the pressure was. And then from then on, that day we came at Simon made a big issue out of it. And Swami said, "Boys, you're not indisciplined, this and that." And then next day onwards, it was basically going quietly. And when we go inside, we would just go flying inside and we would push Swami's chair out. If you do that, your father will scold you, I'm sure, right? You can't do those things. Right, Amma? Am I correct? You will blast your son. How can you be disobedient? We didn't affection. Basically, I would go and basically kick the chair, and another boy will come and kick the water out. and then the handkerchief will go, everything will go. Before Swami came back, we would put everything back because we had a secondary stock of things. That is devotion. We never care. And then next day we are going silently. Swami was waiting. By the time Swami came into this thing and sat, it was 45 minutes. He said, "That's a lot of waste." You know, Narsimhan, what are you telling about my boys? Then Swami gave a next discourse. My boys don't care about their body. This is not the way. Their devotion is different. See there. And that day onward, Swami would basically is pick up whatever the things broke in the process, pick it up. Here, new watch for you, and a new chain for you. He'll create and give it. He'll pick everything and come. That was the affection. That batch, we were notorious batch. 87 batch is the most notorious. We would just Kero Swami off. And anything the boys will say, Anna, you catch Swami means Swami can't escape from your grip. You catch. So that's my job. Jump, grab Swami's feet and hold. And Swami would not escape out of this. And these Prashant and the primary school boys would look at us. And they basically they learned from that inspiration and they started doing that to Swami. And why I'm sharing some of these experiences is devotion can be in any form, any way you want to. You don't have to be. Another example I'll share with you all is on this note on the chair itself, and another student, his name is Ashokuni. We both used to be, competitors in sprint, very sportive, right? Ashok and myself. It so happened one day when I'm talking about this door, that reminded me of that story. Afternoon 2:30, Swami comes out. It's around 2:15, 2:30, Swami will come out of the door, ready for, and he will sit with the Central Trust people, the VVIPs, like, Goldstein and everybody. And so we were at the down lobby after we got ready, everything ready. And Nateshan had bought a nice, beautiful new chair for Swami. And I'm standing with Ashok downstairs. And I knew Ashok he's more mischievous than me. If I'm one, he's 10 times more mischievous. And I looked at Ashok and Ashok looked at me. Dhanraj, the chair is looking good. I said, Ashok, I know exactly what you're going to do. Don't even do it. He's right up there. He's going to come anytime. He's going to open the door. Brothers and sisters and mothers, don't even think what he did the next thing. All right? Ashok went and sat on that chair. Right then and there, the door opened and the divine walked out. What would happen? Tell me what would happen. Tell me. Huh? Huh? Oh God. Here is, Narsimha Avataram came out completely from Swami. He came down completely. Steps. He said, Daiva Drohi, you are occupying my seat in the Vaikunta. You're going to sit in the Adisesha, everything, all the vocabulary came out, blasted. And I'm standing next to Swami and Ashok. You also, you are the conspirator also. He gave me also blasting in the process. We're standing next to him. And then Ashok very coolly, smilingly, Swami, this is only a chair. Why are you attached to the chair? And the Swami didn't know. He smiled and walked out. You won't believe it. Time passed, my brothers. Couple of months later, Nateshan, out of his love, he bought a Jula. The Jula is still there. The Jula is basically now, as you walk into the door, it's right over there. I go inside and I'm sitting there. So Swami comes down and he said, where is your friend? Dost, tera mara dost kidhar hai? Where is your dost? Swami, dost hostel mein. Bulao. Very important. I said, I don't know what is very important. In Hindi, bulao means call, right? So I go running to the hostel and say, Ashok, Swami is calling you. I don't know. Swami is calling. He comes and all the boys are already there. Swami said, हाँ अशोक किधर है, इधर आओ, कम हियर, हाँ टेस्ट करो, सिट. You won't believe it. What would you do, brothers, in that situation? What would you do? Huh? You won't sit, right? After getting the blasting, right? Amma, little Balika's child, what would you do if you won't sit in the chair, right? Ashok didn't have any inhibitions. He went and sat in the Jula over there. He said, Swami, very good. Swami went and sat next to him. Spontaneously, Swami sat. That is spontaneous love. Love does not see the minute you create that barrier between, oh, that is divinity. No, you created a barrier. Swami says, Yad bhavam tad bhavati. The way you look at me, I will react that way. If you react Swami as a divine, you will react it that way. Right? The distance is there. But if you think Swami as a friend, as a brother, go put your hand around him, he will react that way. Every action has got an equal and opposite reactions. Correct? Third law. That is how Swami is. And you won't believe it. Even till today, if I need money, I would go to Swami and ask, Swami, I need money. Till today, Swami said, don't ask money to anybody. I will give you money. That word, he has kept it. Divine Sai has kept it. How many minutes? So, there's a lot of things I can share with you all. Balvika's kids, life. You have to understand one thing is, and young adults, do what you're doing, wholeheartedly, and interact with Swami. Don't create that barrier between you and, in whatever form, whichever aspect. It could be a worldly work too, right? Surrender it to Swami. That's what. Yes, Anna, go ahead. So it so happened that, I told you my routine was 4:30 to, all the way evening. One day I was so tired. I was like a human body. The toll took me, and one day I used to sleep outside the door, so I slept. Swami opened the door, and he said, he didn't want to, like a mother, he didn't want to disturb me. He said, boys, don't disturb him. Very silently, shh, don't disturb. He crossed over me, went on the other side, went and did darshan, came back. Before he went to the darshan, he took my blanket and covered on me, went, finished the darshan, came back, crossed over me and went inside. And like beautifully, after some time, I got up and the boy said, Anna, what happened? You're sleeping. Swami came in. He said, what? Swami came and went. He crossed over you, he went. And that evening, I was sitting next to him. He looked at me like this. Hey, Kumbhakarna, what are you sleeping so long for? I said, sorry, Swami. See, that is Divine Mother. He didn't want to disturb me. Sai. So there are a number of things that I can tell you is, that's how he put me into cancer field. And my mission continues on what he wants to do. And I can tell one thing is, in my profile, they asked me is talk about something about in my professional life. One which I'm very happy, I can say, Swami, the mission that you gave me on working on cancer is the greatest thing that I can give, is being part of the team that we bought the drug Enhertu, making a difference. And I was part of the team and leading them as a leader. I could change the breast cancer scoring. Today, HER2 low, that breast cancer scoring is the definition that I've given, is because of Swami and the vision. In that window, my dear brothers, 1.6 million women would have missed the diagnosis. 1.6 million women would have missed the diagnosis if we had not redefined that scoring. And the drug is showing its efficacy in that window. And the drug is not only in breast cancer, lung, prostate, gastric, and colorectal. It's got in 5 different disease indications. Happy to lead that whole, but I alone cannot do this mission. And Swami, I've asked Swami, we need more students and more people, and AI is going to come into play. Artificial intelligence is going to play. But one more thing which I have to tell you is, during my interaction one day, this is absolutely true. in personalized medicine, Swami put a divine word into my head is my creation is not a rubber stamp. And this is absolutely true from a scientific perspective, my dear brothers. We know from the twins that the genetic makeup is different even in twins. Identical twins are genetically different. The drug may or may not work. And that is personalized medicine, which we need to understand. And that's the era that we are coming into. Sairam, thank you very much.